Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of your WCPO High School Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dyer. Can you believe we're at the halfway point of the regular season for the high school football year? Week 5, and this is going to be a big one. A lot of great matchups around the tri-state this week. We're going to be out in Sharonville, Marshall Kramsky and I, for the 4-0 Lakota West at 4-0 Princeton matchup on Friday night. Big time implications there within the Greater Miami Conference as both teams vie for the conference title and also jockey for position in the Division I Region 4 playoff standings. So that's going to be a lot to talk about with that game. There's other games we're going to talk about here a little bit. Later on this episode, you're going to hear from Milford football coach Tom Grippa as the Eagles improved to 4-0 for the first time since 1977 last week. They host a key game against undefeated Kings there in the Eastern Cincinnati Conference. You're also going to hear from Mason coach Brian Kastner as the Comets have won 3 consecutive games, and they're in contention for a GMC title as well. But this goes beyond football. Our conversation talks about how the Comets really bonded together this preseason, this summer, and that work has really laid the foundation for the success for the Mason football team. Also, Woodward coach Jeremy Flug is going to describe how the Bulldogs are on a 3-game win streak and how much coaching this program has meant to him as well. Also had a conversation with Madeira coach Chris Stewart as the Mustangs are looking to go 5-0 for the first time since 2011. But first up, I want to remind everybody this High School Insider Podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Start your day tomorrow with a fresh, warm breakfast. Well, one final look at Week 4. It was a memorable game there at Charles L. Brown Stadium as Milford defeated Anderson 48-47. It was a thrilling game, back and forth, 970 yards of total offense last Friday night. And senior quarterback Austin Hardin was 28 of 39 passing for 372 yards and 5 touchdowns for Milford. He is our WCPO Player of the Week, and certainly a lot to be happy for if you're an Eagles fan. I had a chance to catch up with Milford coach Tom Grippa on Saturday morning, right after the game, as he talked about what this win meant for the program, going 4-0 for the first time since 1977.
I told them that I was really proud of them, and it showed character. We knew it would be that kind of a game. In 2017, my first year here, we had that kind of game. And when we won, I think it was 41-39, something like that. And it ended the same way. They were throwing the ball into the end zone, just like they, went for 2 and throwing the ball in the end zone. And, so we just gutted it out. And I give credit to Anderson also. They played so well, and they're such a good football team. We think we're a pretty good football team, so their losses are to Princeton and us, and they're blowing everybody else out. So they're going to win a lot of games. So we'll see how it all shakes down. We're closing in on the halfway point. But I'm real proud of my kids. They showed a lot of character, and I think it's hardened us for those kind of games. I think if we have that kind of week this week, I think we'll be ready. We'll be hardened. Kings has not had a tough game yet. Now, I've only seen a little bit of them on film, so I guess they're that good. But we'll see. Sometimes scores are deceiving. So I want to watch and evaluate their talent and see what they're doing. They're disciplined, and they look fast. So we'll have our hands full this week, but we're savoring this win today, and tomorrow we'll get back to work on Kings.
How gutsy is your quarterback, Austin Hardin? I mean, it seems like he just has that poise, even if he gets knocked down, he's right back getting up and making the key throw in a big moment. I mean, what's he been like to coach?
He's been a lot of fun. He works really hard, does extra work, wants to be good. He wants to be good. He's smart, and I'm really proud of him. We said this about Austin, and he's proven us wrong. So Austin, when we'd play teams that were better than you would play lights out, but we need you to play that way against the top teams. And he hasn't always done that. And he did on Friday night, though. He answered the bell and played in his best game, even though he had some room he missed some guys. We ran a hitch and go, probably coming right at you, and he threw the ball out of bounds. But if he throws it, puts it on him, it's a touchdown.
Sure.
And then we had another touchdown taken off the board with an eligible receiver downfield. That was ticky tack. That was close, So I'm sure the Anderson folks saying they should have won it. They should have caught the ball in the 2-point conversion. Maybe the kids should have caught it. I don't know. It was in the heat of the moment. That was a tough catch, and I know this. Our kids had a chance to win the game, and at the end we pulled it out, and I'm really proud of them. Austin is special. He's been fun to coach. I mean, he's hitting 70% of his passes, Mike. That's Joe Burrow like, and he's got 19 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. I mean, no one will vote for him to be all city quarterback, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't trade him for anybody.
He's got a lot of players around him. I mean, Luke Ray, obviously that big time long touchdown run, 81 yards.
Luke's an all-state lacrosse player. He's going to college to play lacrosse. He's got a scholarship. Jacob Smith, who had a great game on defense, he's also an all-state. He might even be an all-American lacrosse player. He's going to Albany on a I think it's a full ride, I think. I mean, so Cam Livingston's a really good athlete. Landon Wisby and Reese Davis are really good athletes and good receivers. I got 2 good backs, Natwan and Webster and Ashton Werther. So, I mean, that's 6 players you have to prepare for that could touch the ball, and all are capable of hurting you. So, none of my kids had giant numbers.
Sure.
But we spread the ball around. And I think that's one thing that makes us tough to defend. We spread the ball around.
And you did this obviously without Tofa Luwani, your linebacker, who's obviously
Tofa would have really helped us on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a difference maker. I mean, when you have a 6-foot, 230-pound stud who runs a 4.6, that hurts. But his brother played well, and the defense played really well. His backup is Cole Miller. He played a really good game last night, number 33. I was really proud of him. Nick Scally, our middle linebacker, number 43. He played really well last night. Their best games were last night. So we're proud of them. So one of the things about Milford is I have a good coaching staff. As we go through the season, our teams get better, and so hopefully we can stay injury free and, hit the postseason getting better and improving. And one of our goals is to win 2 playoff games, and get to the regional finals, or that would be Region 4 finals. So hopefully we can do that. We'll see.
You've been coaching a long time, Tom. I mean, this is I know games like like Friday night, you've been through them, but still, what's it been like?
1987, Mike, is when I started.
I mean, how much fun are you having, I guess, just in a coaching game like Friday night at Anderson, or just this season in general? What's this been like for you?
It's been awesome. That's what I live for. The Lord put me on this planet to make a difference in lives of the kids I touch. And I think I've done that at every school I've been at. And I love Milford. We have a great connection. The kids like me and I like them, and they work hard to go through the wall for us. And I'm real proud of them. We don't have the best facilities. Like our weight room compared to everybody in our league is the worst. Although we are getting a new weight room. I mean, that's going to happen in 2025 or 2026, one of those years, because we have the money and we passed a bond levy, and the Milford community wants it. They love football. Milford youth football is strong. We have lots of kids playing. I got 100 junior high school players. We have 2 teams on every level. K1 all the way up to 6th grade, 2 teams, and they're all fairly successful. So the future looks good for Milford football, and I'm proud of I put my stamp on that.
Gotcha. What's that like? I mean, how much fun is that in a game like Friday night? Or I know it's probably not, maybe fun's not the right word in the moment, but I don't know. Do you consider it fun or stressful or a little bit of both?
It's both. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And that's what you play for. That's why you do it as a coach, coaching those games and the kids to play in those games. And there's the winning and losing. I tell the kids all the time, look, winning's like a wedding and losing's like a funeral. So, you can't put your head down too long on losses. You got to pick yourself up and keep going. There aren't many teams that go undefeated. Everybody has a loss. I mean, St. X won the state championship in 2016, I think, with a 5-5 record going into the postseason. And Sean Clifford got hot, and they went on a run, and they were unbeatable.
No doubt. Yeah.
So we're hoping that happens for us. We're hoping we can continue to improve. And with the receiving core I have, Mike, they're pretty good. Our backs are pretty good. So we'll see.
Great. Well, Tom, I really appreciate the time. All the best of luck to the Eagles going forward.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Mike. You have a good weekend.
Well, as I mentioned, Milford has yet another challenge this Friday night when they host Kings, and this is going to be a big-time ECC showdown. Expect a lot of throwing, a lot of points on the scoreboard. Similar to last week at Anderson, by all stretch of the imagination, this is going to be one offensive juggernaut against another. So Milford hasn't played Kings since 2019, and the Knights won that game 52-7, and Milford hasn't defeated Kings since October of 2017. So we're going to see who comes out on top in this big-time matchup as well. But before we go any further, I want to remind everybody this High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Download the app today for easy ordering. And coming up next, we had a conversation with Mason coach Brian Kastner. Speaking of a program milestone, Mason defeated Colerain for the first time in program history last week, and I had a chance to catch up with Coach Kastner on Saturday morning as he reflected on that win, but also a little bit about how special this tight-knit group with the Comets are with their bond that was really created this past summer in transitioning to this football season.
I just really love our effort. You try to rely on the two big things that we talk about a lot, and that's attitude and effort. And we really throw it at them a bunch. We have it on the wall in the locker room, and those are the two controllables. But on the field, whether it's emotions or, some kid getting mad or, getting after another kid, that's part of the attitude of the game. It's a violent game. But the effort part of where we're at, we have a lot of high effort kids right now that the coaching staff's excited about, and they're playing together. They're playing as one. And that was one of our biggest goals this week. It was understanding that your toughest opponent, no matter what people say, your toughest opponent in life and in the game of football is yourself. And we talked about this all week. Colerain is the team that's going to be showing up in a red uniform or a different colored jersey. But the most important thing was us understanding that we have to get better and we have to convince ourselves. We have to look ourselves in the mirror. So I love our team goal, or our team word is unity. And that was something that they chose as seniors, and they've stuck to it. I mean, they've done a lot of things together. We've done a lot of things at players' houses, coaches' houses, and we have a couple different programs that we work through that aid that. But our goal was from the get-go over the summer when we went to AIA for our camp was they wanted to become the tightest team in Mason history. They wanted to be able to have the legacy of, man, that team had phenomenal chemistry because they loved one another and they wanted to be tight. We're not where we need to be completely, but we're there's a lot of love going around. A lot of love.
How does that make you feel as a coach when you hear?
Well, you know me, I love it. I'm more, I've always said I'm going to make you a better person before I make you a better player. And this program is going to make us better people before it makes us better players. And so chemistry is huge. Relationships are almost everything. It does warm my heart. I'd be lying to you if I didn't get choked up a couple times last night, whether I was with the team or by myself, just because of how tight we are. And when you do things the right way, you own it. You do things the right way, you own that stuff. And, there's a lot of people that have success that don't do things the right way. And we really believe to the heart, to the bottom of our heart and our gut that we do things the right way. So it makes me feel great. It really does. And you rest well. You put your head on the pillow at night and you rest well. And I'm very proud of him. Very excited. I can't say enough good things about him.
I know you talk about the LGL all the time. I mean, was there something in the summer that you noticed? Maybe it was a team activity or a bonding thing that you said, hey, this is going to be something special?
Yeah, so we go to AIA or we go to Ohio University every first part of the summer, and Ohio University was getting their turf replaced, and they had a couple other things going on, so we couldn't go back to OU. So we went to AIA, and AIA does a Athletes in Action up there in Xenia, does a great job of taking us in and allowing us to address our top four, right? Our big four: faith, family, academics, football, and that's been on our wall in our locker room as well for 13 years. And during that 3 days together, it's just us. You could hear the voice, the kind of the how profound some of these players' voices were on making sure that we unify, that we come united, and we become the tightest team in Mason history. And so that it wasn't one series. Like we sat around the campfire one night and everybody kind of shared what they wanted from sophomores up to seniors. That was a great night. But there were some other nights and activities where, we were in chapel or we were in certain things throughout the periods of each day. And it grabs you. I mean, we dove into mental health for the first time. We have a program called Restoic that we work through every Wednesday. So we not only address mental illness, but we also address leadership like we always have. And we're able to blend both of those in together and have some balance, so we don't become too overboard on one thing. But we had a young man that came and he was fighting mental illness, and he shared a big story with him. And that was a big moment. I know it grabbed me. It grabbed coaches. So that was another moment. And then obviously our practices up there were high energy, at the beginning of the summer when kids are thinking about, when they're going to go to the swimming pool or how can they hang out with their girlfriends. We're together for 3 days. And I just I can't say enough about that part of our program. It's pretty cool. It's something that we will always do as long as I'm head coach, and my staff loves it. I mean, they're going away from their family for 3 days, but they love being with the kids. And I'd say out of the 11 years that we've done it, I think we didn't do it the first year, but I think we're probably 10 for 11. Maybe 11 for 11. I mean, there's been a year or two where you're like, man, did we really accomplish what we wanted to accomplish? So, but yeah, this year was great. So, and then all summer, we went 4 days a week, and we hired Valparaiso's head strength coach, director of strength. His name's Trent Smart, and he's the best, hands down. I mean, I can go on social media and tell you this, that man gets it. And he's a guy that played at OU. He was player of the year in Ohio. Played at Clinton Massey, won a state championship. He's very knowledgeable. The kids love him, and man, he holds them accountable. So anytime, you got a strength coach that does the things that he does and is able to connect, he's special. And that's what we've had here. I mean, we've had, other assistant coaches that have been pretty darn good. And hopefully they stick around a little bit longer and stay with us. We don't have many coaches that leave. We really enjoy working with each other, and we really, really enjoy working with these kids. But Trent Smart has really kind of taken it a little bit to the next level. That was something that was brought up last night at halftime. I was like, guys, here we go again. We're right here. It's 13-0 at half. We're up a score, 2 scores. This is something we haven't been able to do. We haven't been able to finish, a game and against these guys, and we did. And they got some dudes. They got some guys that can go. Don't let this record fool you. I mean, I know Coach Cutright's going to figure something out. If I know him who he is, he's going to figure it out.
You open the season 2-point loss to Gahanna Lincoln, but then you rattle off 3 wins in a row. I mean, what did you learn from maybe that season opening loss? What are you doing so well on the field now after that?
Well, we're scoring more points.
That helps.
We scored that touchdown late in the Gahanna game. So really it was 9-0 with, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes left. And we were moving the ball in the Gahanna game. It was more of just finishing the drives. I mean, we threw an interception. We were inside the red zone, and we were inside the red zone again, and it didn't happen. But then at the end, we scored, and then we were able to kick it onside and not get it. But so our offense has grown. Our offense has been more, understanding of what's expected. We were young in areas. Yes, we got a returning quarterback, but he split time with Michael Molnar, who's now at OU. So, Larry needed some time to grow, and he's battling, a hand issue. I mean, it's not a secret. He's got a thing over his left hand. So he's doing really well at leading the team. And then, we have 2 or 3 running backs that we've been rotating in, and the receivers have really grown and they've caught the ball well in space. We just got to make sure that the trenches, the guys up front, just keep getting tougher. I do believe that, people say, oh, you're either tough, you're not. No, I believe you can get tougher, especially when you're playing in the GMC on a Friday night.
No doubt. Already week 5, as you kind of look ahead, hosting Middletown next week. What's kind of your first thought on that?
Well, I think it's tailgate night. It's Little Comets potentially night. So it should be a really, really good atmosphere. So we're gonna enjoy being back at home because we only have 4 home games because of this GMC matrix, the scheduling that they went to. But I'm excited for our players to be a part of that. I'm excited for them to come in, have another opportunity to get better. Middletown is, they're 14-13. They're going to be on the edge. Last night, I think it was an extra point they missed at the end to tie it, which that always, leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So I'm sure they're going to come in here hungry. And I don't care what anybody says, Middletown always plays Mason tough. Always. Back to the Schwarber days when Kraus was there, to Everhart. I've seen some head coaches come through to Wells. They all have played Mason tough. And I'm sure there's some dynamics to that. And so we know they're going to come in here with a little bit of edge about them, and we're going to have to match their intensity and still play, hopefully mistake-free ball. We had some penalties last night again that were silly, that were controllable, emotional filled. We had a fumble pickup that Krukenberg took back, and he's holding the ball up in the air, and we don't ever do that stuff. And that, the officials threw, I think, 3 flags on him right away. It was, and Sean knows he was wrong, but we don't do that stuff. So we need to get rid of those things for sure. But yeah, I'm excited about, going 1-0 again. It's a great week to go 1-0.
No doubt. You talked about your offense before. I'll let you go. Just defensively, who's kind of stood out for you?
I can't say enough great things about the whole defense. I can't say enough great things about, first and foremost, the plan that's put in front of them every day. The defensive staff has done a phenomenal job with this group. Now, we took Sailors, who was he's a leading rusher in the GMC last year, okay, to, I think, week 9, he was a leading rusher, and then he dropped off 9, 10, and 11. And we put him over on the defensive side and said, hey, this is where you're going to be, and we need you to step up. So Nicholas Sailors has really had a great start. Sean Krukenberg, Jake Bates, I think, was leading the GMC in tackles. He might not now. Our up front guys, Caden Davis had a great game last night. Our corners have been doing pretty well. So all in all, man, I tell you, Mike, those 11 dudes, and there's even some guys that we rotate in that they're playing with confidence because they're high effort guys. They're high effort guys that just get after it, man. I love it. I love the way they play.
That's a true signature of a Brian Kastner coach team, you know,
Yeah,
that true,
thanks, yeah.
that true effort each time.
Yeah.
Hey, Commons coach Brian Kastner, always appreciate the time. Best of luck to the Commons going forward.
Mike, thank you for everything you do, man. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Well, I've known Coach Kastner for over a decade, and he's always emphasized life lessons beyond the game of football. And you could tell that in that conversation how much he has a passion for helping each and every one of his student athletes every season. And you could tell the chemistry got him a little bit emotional talking about this 2022 season. The Comets play host to Middletown on Friday night before back-to-back road games at Lakota East and at Lakota West to conclude September. So certainly some challenging games ahead for Coach Kastner and the Comets, but they seem to be up to the challenge so far in this first half of the season. Well, another team that has built strong bonds this season is at Woodward. The Bulldogs are 3-1, and you may remember our WCPO story this past summer when head coach Jeremy Flug took a lot of his players and some of the coaches on a week-long college campus tour in June through 8 states and nearly 2,000 miles. It really built bonds that translated over to this season. Just based upon visiting these colleges and just life experiences. Well, the Bulldogs have had those results really pay off at this midway point of the season. 3-1, as I mentioned, after a 38-22 win at Bourbon County this past week. I asked Coach Flug what he liked most about the way the Bulldogs have been playing.
Started with our defense. To be honest with you, they were all over the place. Bourbon County's quarterback is a tough senior. They scored 70 points last week. I think they're averaging in the 40s. And to hold them to 22 is just a big testament to how far our defense has come so quickly. We just got after the ball. I bet we had 6 or 7 sacks last night. Huge interception in the end zone to kind of seal the deal before our last drive. Just defense is flying around. Coach Moore and Coach Booker and Pollard, they've just done Coach Martin just done a heck of a job making sure kids are where they need to be, and then offensively, we just continue to thrive. Our offensive line is coming along. We have big, thick, strong kids up front who just enjoy mashing people, and it's a lot of fun watching them grow and learn the system. And we can't say enough about our skill guys. Mod came into the week number 4 passer in the country, Dante the number 1 receiver in the country, and they just put on another show. And they're starting to get complimentary roles too, so people can't just sit and double team Dante all night. So we had touchdown catches by our big tight end Joe Leonard. Another touchdown catch by Michael Cephas. Like our guys are just all over the place, and the running game's coming along real fast with our sophomore running back Anthony Jasper.
Great. Who really stood out for you defensively?
Well, I'll tell you what, our Hughes brothers are a force to be reckoned with on the defensive side right now. Demarion and Jeremiah, first year playing football for both of them in high school. Both basketball kids that we just kept nagging, and I'm excited to get both of them. Demarion's a senior, Jeremiah is a junior. They both kind of played like that hybrid outside linebacker safety role. And I think Demarion probably had 2 or 3 sacks by himself last night. Jeremiah just flies around to the ball, tackling everything that walks. Just both of them were fantastic. Our DBs played fantastic last night. I think we only gave up 1 touchdown pass. We just kind of got caught on a crossing route where we ran into each other. Other than that, our defensive backs and our front 4 were all over the place, all over them. So really excited about our defensive group and where they're going to go, not where we are right now.
So going back to the season opener, you lose by 2 to Columbus South, obviously a disappointing loss, but now you've rattled off 3 consecutive wins. Has there been kind of a common theme here in these past few weeks of what you're doing so well?
Well, I mean, South, they're undefeated. I don't know if anybody knows that, but they're undefeated right now. They were a super tough opponent, went up to their place. I wish we had maybe 1 more week of practice. I think things could have been maybe a little different, but I think the 2-point loss was eye-opening for our kids because last year South beat them by 60. And so so for them to go from 60 to 2 was like, wait, we are pretty good, like maybe this is going to be all right, and it was one of those trust things. Like sometimes you just got to take the leap and hope that us coaching staff catches you and puts you in the right places. So I think that was a big turning point, I think, for our program, was just that we fought and fought and fought, and we're better than people have been giving us for a long time, and now our kids are believing it, and that's a scary thing. Is just trust and belief.
You talked about Armand and Dante and getting that national ranking.
9 to 5.
What's that mean to them to get that recognition and see these statistics really kind of pay off in the games, not just personally, but just for the team?
Yeah, it's super exciting to watch them compete. We, like I said, that's our joke now. It's 9 to 5, and Armand's number 9 and Dante's 5. So just putting in that work every night. So they to get that recognition. People are starting to notice. The offers are starting to come, but also it just makes everybody better on our football team because they click so well. Defenses have to over adjust everything, and when they don't, it's I don't want to say easy, but gosh, Dante makes it look easy. My God, he's so fluid and so good at his craft, and yeah, it just, those two make our whole offense that much better, because when one kid kind of takes an entire half of the field away from the defense, it just makes everything else. And we have very, very good skill people. Our running back's only a sophomore, and last night he ran like a true senior. He's going to be a force to wreck with Anthony Jasper. He's going to be a force for the next 3 years. And then heck, our quarterback turned tight end, Joe Leonard. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, and he took a quick cross last night, 70 yards for a touchdown. I mean, the kid runs a 4.65, and he's playing tight end, and he's 6'4", 250 pounds. You're not bringing him down. It just opens up everything for everybody, and our kids are loving it, and they're loving on each other because it's not a selfish thing. They know that with those two being so good, that it's going to give everybody their shine.
I remember talking to you this summer. You're so excited about taking over this program and having this opportunity. I mean, is this met your expectations? Has it exceeded it? I mean, what's it been like for you personally?
Yeah, I'm just super grateful for our athletic director, Jabril Moten, and our principal, Dr. Wallace, and honestly all the staff. Heck, I had both basketball coaches on the sideline. They're there every game. Coach Red and Coach Mack. There's just the support, just anything that's needed. If a kid needs to be stretched, if a kid needs to grab water, they're there as just all love, and we talk all the time about we grind different, and I truly believe it. It's shown. We sold out our first home game this year, and just again a testament to the community and to the people and to the administration and staff, and Cincinnati Public Schools being behind us, and just I think it looks good for everybody. We already got Taft and Hughes and Withrow, and Coach Duca doing a great job at Aiken. I mean, my goodness, it's just Cincinnati Public Schools has got a lot to be excited about right now with its players, with its coaching staffs, and it's for me, with it being my parents' alma mater and grandparents and aunts and uncles. It's fun that on Friday nights, like, to be mom's first call, you know what I mean? And be like, I'm so proud of you, like makes me feel like I'm 13 all over again, and coming out of my own games. So it's just really cool.
Very cool. Talking about some of these other CPS programs, you're going to open up the CMAC schedule here in a couple of weeks, but you're on the road again this upcoming week. Can you tell us a little bit about your opponent with Trimble?
Yeah, Trimble is a solid program, way out east, out by Athens. They're going to grind and get in big sets and try to pound the ball up front. Kind of like a lot of those Eastern schools do. They graduated quite a few players last year, so they're young, but all the film that I've seen so far. They're going to be a challenge. It'll be a tough one up front, and as long as we can control the line of scrimmage, we should be okay with the athletes that we have on the outside. It's going to be tough for them to cover us.
Woodward head coach Jeremy Flug, really appreciate the time. All the best to the Bulldogs going forward.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Well, Woodward is certainly a team to watch as the Bulldogs prepare to enter the CMAC portion of the schedule after this week. And Coach Flug would love certainly to be able to host a first-round playoff game there in October. But switching gears to Division IV, Region 16, Madeira is yet another team to watch. They're in a prime position to host the first-round game themselves. Madeira is 4-0 for the first time since 2020 and looking to go 5-0 for the first time since the 2011 season in a game against Finneytown on Friday night. I asked Coach Chris Stewart what is working so well on both sides of the ball for the Mustangs this season.
The thing I love about our team the most is just how hard they work. You know, they're a disciplined team. They know what they're expected of to do. We have 15 seniors on our team. They've been around this program for 5 years now, so they understand the culture and what the expectations the coaches have for them, and they just work extremely hard. They do the little things that people don't see behind the scenes to give them the opportunity to be in this position and be 4-0.
Well, I mean, we could probably rattle off a lot of names here, but certainly going back to the win over Marymount, as I mentioned, I mean, senior running back Nick Heiser, 89 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns on 24 carries, and then you had senior Max Autry, 9 carries for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. We'll talk about the defense here in a little bit because I know it's been such a strong part of the team. But what do you like about the offense right now?
Up front, the 5 guys up front, and then we have 2 tight ends. We have 5 offensive linemen. We have 4 seniors, 1 junior. Some of them have been 3-year starters. They played multiple positions because of injuries, so they have a ton of experience. And then we also have Connor Kravac, who's a D1 commit to Akron, a 6'5", 225-pound tight end. And our other tight end is a former guard, all CHL first-team guard, Aiden Migas. We actually moved him to a tight end wing position because we had enough linemen, and we can catch the ball a little bit, but he's another lineman. So sometimes we feel like we're playing with almost 7 linemen on the line of scrimmage. And, it makes it tough on teams when you can just line up and they know what's coming and it's hard for them to stop that.
And you told me over the weekend about how you thought this was an experienced group coming back after losing some players a year ago to graduation. But what's kind of been the vibe around this team, I guess, in the preseason leading into the first few games here? I mean, what do you like most about the chemistry within the group?
They're all friends. They all hang out with each other. And that's the cool thing about small school football is that these guys are in class all the time. They're football players, they're basketball players, they're baseball players. They're constantly around each other all the time, and they're holding each other accountable for showing up to the off-season workouts. I think when you look at the group of kids that we've had, they didn't start just in the summer. It was literally the 28th day or the 29th day you could start working out again. They were in the weight room lifting in that first week of December, because they knew what they had coming up their senior year, and they didn't want to have that feeling of being 4-7 again. So they put the time in, and they've held each other accountable and kind of pulled each other along in those times when maybe they didn't feel like they wanted to work out. So it's a good group of kids holding each other accountable.
And then defensively, you can update me here, obviously, on the stats. But through 3 games, you had created 9 turnovers. Obviously, you get a shutout this past week against Marymount, as I mentioned. But what's really working so well in terms of the defensive effort?
We got Nick Wainscott took over about halfway through the year last year as defensive coordinator. This is his first full year. He's a graduate of Madeira High School, played for Mike Schaefer here in Madeira, teaches in Madeira now, just got a teaching job. And he understands the kids. He understands what CHL football, small school football is like. He doesn't try to do too much. He keeps it very simple for the kids. We have very good kids, puts them in the right spot to be successful so they can play fast. I think anytime when you look at a defense and they're struggling, they either are doing too much or thinking too much on the football field. Our kids are just lining up in almost a base defense and just playing football and running to the ball. So it's fun to watch them play. It's like, I don't know, Jacob deGrom pitching. You just love to watch him pitch, right? I love to watch our team play defense. It's always the fear of giving up points, but they're just fun a group to watch because they're so connected on the field. They communicate well, and they enjoy playing for each other.
What do you think about this matchup with Finneytown? They're 1-3, but Coach Armand Tatum in his first season there with the Wildcats. What do you think Friday night will bring?
So Friday night, Armand, I was just got done watching film. He's doing a great job with that program over there. I know Armand. I coached with him in the North-South game up in getting up there, and he's a great guy, and he's going to do great things for this program. It's always tough your first year when you come in trying to feel out a program and understand the kids and the culture of the school and trying to build that. I've been there, I get it. So it's going to be a good matchup for us on Friday to see what he can do against us and what we can do against them.
What about just the CHL overall? I mean, how strong is this conference? I mean, you talk about, Reading 4-0, Madeira's 4-0, Wyoming, of course, is 4-0. I mean, this is just seems like a lot of talent. I mean, I know this is nothing new. I mean, the tradition of the CHL speaks for itself, but still getting a lot of attention this year in particular.
Yeah, small school football, you're going to have your ups and downs. Like last year, we were 4-7, and this year we have a chance to improve on that. And you're going to have your ebbs and flows. Wyoming has always been the standard to the conference the last few years. I understand that, and Indian Hill's been up there, and it'll flip flop with some teams. But we've got some great coaches in this league that do a great job with these kids. And you look at some of these coaches, Coach Rodenberg and Hancock and Amon Tatum, David Dransman and Taylor. Luke Kripe has been at big schools at Reading. Nick Leon's doing a great job at Marymount. All these schools do a great job with their coaching staffs, and it's fun to coach against these coaches. And I think the cool thing about CHL football is the stadiums. They're so unique. When you go to Coast Stadium and all the stands are on the one side, Indian Hill, you're playing in the woods. Reading's got the old grass field, the giant arch in it, and their cheeseburgers are amazing. I think when you go to those places and you go to Wyoming, and it's Coach Lewis Stadium and it's Bertie Berry Field, the history in those places are, it's fun to play in all these small stadiums in these towns. I think it's unique in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Your fifth season, as I mentioned, there at Madeira. I mean, what's been the most rewarding part for you from a day in and day out perspective when you're leading this program and just being involved with the school district and the community?
Oh, I think to affect kids. The whole goal of the program is to create leaders of men through the game of football. I think the cool part is when the kids start to come back. We've had a couple kids come back and coach with us. Kids will come back and speak to the team. Just the messages that how when you see kids be successful in life and they say, yeah, the football program helped me to get where I am today. I think that's the most rewarding part. We're going to lose some games. We're going to win by a lot. We're going to lose by a lot. It's going to happen. Every game's not perfect, but the opportunity to help kids along the way become better husbands, fathers, coworkers, maybe leaders, whatever they choose to do in their careers, I think. And we have a small piece of that. I think that's the most rewarding part for our staff and our coaches who are helping these kids.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate your time and perspective, and all the best to Madeira the rest of the season. I
appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Well, Madeira has outscored its opponents 131-24 through 4 weeks, so certainly this team is going to be one to watch in the second half of the season, getting it done on both sides of the ball. A lot of experience, as Coach Stewart alluded to, and that seems to be the key to success, obviously, once you get into the postseason and deep into those playoff rounds as well. But there's plenty of good matchups, as I mentioned at the start. Kings at Milford. Moeller, how about Moeller defeating Our Lady of Good Counsel, that powerhouse out of Maryland last week in a game at Ironton? They've really been impressive. Jordan Marshall, almost 600 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns. The Crusaders are going to take on St. Xavier over there on North Bend Road. St. X is 2-2, and that's always going to be a fantastic GCL South rivalry. Reading is 4-0, and they take on Wyoming, which is also undefeated. The Cowboys going for their 62nd consecutive regular season victory. And then Western Brown at Miami Trace. I want to keep an eye on Drew Novak. Everybody knows about this Western Brown senior quarterback. He's thrown for 11,367 yards in his career. He's only 62 yards away from surpassing Joe Burrow on the state's all-time career passing yards list. So certainly Novak going to continue to climb. He's 7th all-time on that list, but certainly would not be out of the stretch of realm to see him in the top 5 here in the next couple of weeks. Well, that's all I have for you this week on this week's episode. Be sure to check out my story on WCPO.com as I visited Princeton's practice and talked to Coach Andre Parker about this big-time matchup against Lakota West. Also spoke with some of the Vikings about how they're trying to block out the social media and some of the noise that they're hearing from friends and classmates about this big game, just trying to stay focused on defeating undefeated Firebirds team. So certainly going to be a fun game to watch on Friday night in Sharonville. Thanks again for watching and listening. I will talk to you next week.